Instead of lowering food prices, now thanks to Trump, the costs are rising. Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. Across the United States, the Trump administration's immigration raids have begun. From coast to coast, there are a growing number of scenes like this.
Our cameras capturing one man being taken into custody.
É muito triste.
Neighbors in the heavily migrant community surprised and saddened to see it go down.
The raids going down in California are now prompting headlines, including this one. Trump's immigration plans are already wrecking the food industry. Immigrant farm workers are too scared to show up to work. Quote, Bakersfield, California saw a massive drop-off in the number of field workers showing up for work Tuesday while ICE agents and unmarked Chevy Suburbans rounded up and detained immigrants in the area, profiling individuals they believed to be field workers, reported Cal Matters. The end result, acres of unpicked oranges roasting in the California sun at the height of the season. California's Central Valley, where Bakersfield is located, produces about a quarter of the nation's food. According to Cal Matters, a nonpartisan nonprofit news organization, undocumented migrant workers comprise more than half of the valley's agricultural workforce. Quote, undocumented workers have been targeted walking in and out of gas stations, getting breakfast at Home Depot, or while driving along the 99 highway, leaving many with no other option than to simply stay at home. We're in the middle of our citrus harvesting, Casey Creamer, president of the industry group California Citrus Mutual, told Cal Matters. This sent shockwaves through the entire community. People aren't going to work and kids aren't going to school. Yesterday, about 25% of the workforce. Today, 75% didn't show up. Higher prices are already showing up in agricultural supply chains. According to analysts and farmers, losing the bulk of America's agricultural workforce so quickly is a recipe for economic devastation.
Well, there's no question in the United States we have a shrinking workforce. Anything that happens from a policy standpoint that reduces people in our workforce is going to make it very difficult for industry, and certainly for agriculture. We would be in big trouble if we lost workforce.
And the troubles are now intensifying, not just in agricultural fields, farms, and food processing plants. Amidst the deportation efforts, the Trump administration has already rolled back an Obama-era directive that limited where customs and enforcement agents could conduct their raids. Now, the Trump administration has directed immigration and customs enforcement agents to go anywhere.
The Trump administration authorizing ICE agents to target schools and churches.
Some people are going to have to hide and stay out of sight. You know, maybe some kids won't go to school. We don't know.
The Trump administration is also dramatically ratcheting up the pressure now on migrants trying to get into the United States. Even though border crossings at the end of the Biden administration reached the lowest level in 4 years, President Trump has declared the U.S.-Mexico border a national emergency and is dispatching military troops.
Trump officials are considering deploying 10,000 soldiers to the border and using U.S. bases to hold migrants awaiting deportation, according to an internal memo obtained by CBS News. U.S. border agents were also directed this week to immediately fingerprint and deport migrants crossing into the country illegally, without giving them the opportunity to request asylum.
That's right. Now, when migrants try to cross into the United States, they are not being given the opportunity to apply for asylum. In other words, people who are trying to flee violence and persecution in their home country, say in South America, can no longer point to that in order to get safe refuge in the United States, and they cannot even get a court hearing.
That traditionally has been an obligation under domestic and international refugee law designed to ensure that governments are not sending people to places where they could be persecuted. But that asylum law under, again, domestic and international treaties has now been suspended effectively by this order by President Trump.
Now, I have no illusions about this. Most Americans are probably not going to care if undocumented migrants are sent back to countries where they face violence or persecution. The issue of asylum, unfortunately, doesn't seem to be much of a concern for a majority of Americans, despite this country's proud history of being a beacon of freedom and hope. The Statue of Liberty has a quote that says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your humbled masses yearning to be free." Well, in MAGA world, even Lady Liberty might be considered a subversive threat. But the one issue that may cut through on all of this is the price of food. Americans said the rising cost of eggs and other basics was a key factor in wanting to get rid of President Biden and replace him with Donald Trump. And what Trump is doing now, at the beginning of his administration, is tightening the supply of agricultural and food industry labor. With fewer workers to pick the crops or work in the food plants, prices will continue to surge. And by all accounts, the deportation effort across the United States is aggressive and sweeping, as Fox News witnessed in a ride-along with ICE agents.
And in a sign of shifting priorities with the new Trump administration, this man, who was in the same apartment as the target, was also arrested after ICE determined he's also in the U.S. illegally. This is what ICE calls collateral.
So you guys got your main target just now, but you got somebody else. What just happened?
So our main target was released by a sanctuary jurisdiction, not honoring a detainer. That person was released back into the community, and when we went to go find him, he's with somebody else who was previously removed from the United States. So he's going to go today too.
And that is exactly what Border Czar Tom Homan has warned would happen.
When we find the bad guy, he's probably with others that are in the United States illegally. They may not be a criminal priority, but we're not walking away from them.
They are not walking away from undocumented immigrants, and the Trump administration is not backing down from policies that are already squeezing the labor market and causing food prices to go up. The only question seems to be how much prices have to rise for Trump voters to take notice and finally realize that deporting undocumented migrants comes with its own cost. By the way, House Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene is now admitting that she caused a scene during Donald Trump's inauguration by cutting in line.
You know, when we lined up, we were in the House chamber waiting to go in for President Trump's speech, and they wanted to line us up by class. And the first class sign they had on the wall was the 96th Congress. And I came in the 117th Congress. So that shows you right there, people have been there way too long and they need to retire and go home. And as I looked along the entire line of Republicans and Democrats lined up, and they were lining us up by seniority, I looked at that and I said, this is ridiculous. We need to be lining up by who supports President Trump the most. And I said, that's me. And I went to the front of the line, and Marcy Kaptur happened to be standing there. And I told her, I said, look, you voted to impeach President Trump, so I'm going in front of you. And every single one of those Democrats, they did not belong in that inauguration. They voted to impeach President Trump. They wanted to lock him up for the rest of his life. They wanted to destroy his family, destroy their businesses, and they did destroy this country for 4 years. So I was sick of them. I was like, I don't care about your seniority. I'm taking it away, and I'm going to the front of the line, and that's what I did.
Okay. Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular was from a user who wrote, "Every village has an idiot, and we have MTG." Indeed. I look forward to reading your comments about Donald Trump already wrecking the food industry as migrant deportations intensify. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.